This film tells a story that shook me up, was a story that I didn't really know. I think it's a story that no matter where you fall politically, is going to give you pause. You know, in the United States, where this story is set, there's a phrase you hear all the time: "Support our troops." And I think this film really asks what it means to support our troops. We are pleased to have with us both the producer and the director. Let me start by bringing out the producer visiting from Los Angeles. Please welcome Nick Boak.
Thank you, Tom. All right. Hello, everybody. First, just on behalf of all the producers and the crew, just everybody, I want to say thank you all for being here. It's truly an honor. It's a privilege. It's a dream come true to be able to show our movie for the first time, Ready for War, here at the Toronto Film Festival. So thank you all for coming. So we started this project about 2 years ago, or actually exactly 2 years ago. In September 2017 was our first shoot. And back then we were very much on our own. Renzi and I kind of scraped together everything we've got to put together a shoot. We had some help from Yarrow in the music video account. And we went down to Tijuana and Juarez. And 2 years later, we've managed to put together an incredible group of partners that have been supportive in every way. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank all of them. First, I just want to say, Vinny, thank you so much. Everybody at Showtime, you've been a pleasure to work with. As two young filmmakers, it's a dream come true to bring your movie to a premium distributor, but also to be given so much trust and you know, freedom of creativity and everything. So thank you guys. Tara Long, E1, David Ayer, and Chris Long in Cedar Park. You guys, you know, coming on board really helped this thing take off. Thank you guys. Dream Crew, Drake, you guys have been the strongest allies in every way, creatively, just in every sense. And having Drake's support on this issue and telling us that this is something he's behind and wants to rally really is going to help this reach a bigger audience and hopefully impact some change. So thank you, Dream Crew. Thank you, Drake, Future, Anthony, Jason, and everybody at Dream Crew. And then last but far from least, I want to give a really special shout out to Kirsten Emhoff and Candice Dragonis at Pretty Bird, because without them, we probably wouldn't be here right now. From the very beginning, you know, Candice brought the project in and showed it to Kirsten, and Kirsten has been was our financier, our mother, our guardian angel, and until we, you know, got everybody together and found our home at Showtime. So Hollywood needs more people like you, Kirsten. Thank you for believing in our vision, and thank you for supporting us. Also, in addition to all these incredible partners, we've had, you know, just so lucky to have so many awesome young creative people work on this film in the crew. I'm so proud of these people. Hang on, let me get the list really quick. Don't want to leave anyone out. These guys really gave it everything they've got, and I'm so proud. A lot of them are here right now. Jeff Peterman, Ben Wolin, Andy Franzak, Luis Chaparro, John Carey, Rael Abad, Greta Zazula, everybody who couldn't make it here tonight. I'm so proud of you guys. It's been an honor to be your producer. I'm so proud of the work we've done together. But there's one person that really is the creative force behind this movie, and it's his vision that drove this thing. It's a complex issue, it's a complex story, and it really took a strong directorial voice to tell it properly. So I'd like to introduce you to my producing partner, my friend, my director, Andrew Renzi.
I feel like there's a lot of directors out there that say, my producer would die for me. And during this project, there was several times when I looked over at Nick and I'd be like, huh, this guy might literally die for me during the making of this movie. A lot of people might not think that that's a good thing, but I sure do. And I love you so much, and I really can't tell you how much this means to me. The last time that I was in Toronto, the Raptors won Game 7 on a buzzer beater, and the last time I was in Toronto, I got engaged. So I'm kind of on a hot streak in this city, and it's continuing tonight. So I'm pretty psyched about that. I want to thank Showtime. I want to thank TIFF. I want to thank Tom. I want to thank everybody that Nick mentioned. To make this happen, this is just incredible to me. I want to give a special thank you to my editor, Ben Wolin. Tonight's his birthday. And we've been spending every day together since I don't know when cutting this film. And now you share the same birthday as our film, which I'm very jealous about, but I think it's very fitting. So I really appreciate everything, Ben. And the two most important people in my life I need to talk about, my mom and Lucy. They're both here. You know, my mom didn't know everything that I was doing with this film, and I think she's going to thank me after she watches it for that reason, but Lucy definitely did. And somehow she supported me throughout the whole thing, and she was unwavering in that, and I love her so much. Those two are my home, and if there's anything that I've learned in making this film, it's that nobody should ever be able to take your home away from you. And I'm so grateful, and I will never take for granted the fact that I have you two as my home. It's a very brave thing to share your story and put it up on the screen, and that's something that's unique to documentaries in a lot of ways, and it literally is something that makes the world a better place when people are willing to do that. There's people that are here, a lot of people that are here tonight that were willing to do that, and I don't want to talk specifically about them now because that's literally why we're here, to watch that, but I just want to let you know that I'm grateful and I love you for this. So now the movie, I hope it makes you feel something, and I can't wait to talk with you about it afterwards. Thank you so much for coming.
So Hector hasn't seen the film before. Can we start by asking you what you think?
It was just pretty intense. I actually never met or know about Elvet, so the ending was pretty pretty difficult. But I've had a lot of guys that that didn't take that route, and that they passed away, and I've had to bury them. So it's just tough, and that's why I'm here today, and my commitment continues to try to do what I can, and it's been a very hard road, and it's affected me really hard, and I'm just barely trying to transition back into getting my life back, but it's been tough. But I'm glad that we're able to tell this story, and you guys did an amazing job.
Andrew, can you talk about how you came to the subject in the first place?
Yeah, someone actually told me about Hector. Someone that we know just basically gave us an article about Hector and then introduced us to Hector. And we went down and we met him. And immediately when I heard about this issue, I thought to myself that this is an incredible subject because the immigration conversation is just so loud right now and so confusing and so polarizing. But this sort of felt like this specific thing into the immigration conversation that shouldn't have party lines, that should be pretty straightforward. We should all agree on, just don't deport a veteran. And, after meeting Hector, we went to Juarez, and then I heard that there was another layer of the onion that could peel back, and that there was the cartel aspect of it, and that some of these veterans were falling victim to that. And it just felt to me like, there's a Trojan horse into a story that's actually important, and I wanted to tell it that way as a result.
So, Nick, obviously, a very difficult part of telling this story is the Elvet side of it. Can you, elaborate on what it took to tell that part of the story?
Well, getting access to that part of this story was a very long road, and it took us going back and forth between Juarez and California multiple times. And actually, we originally were covering a different character who's an older man who was kind of at the end of his career, wasn't as active, and he actually had to go on the run because there were several hits made on his life. And that's actually when we were introduced to Elvet, who is very much in the thick of it and in the middle, in that part of his career in the cartel. And as you know, the lifespan and the expectancy for these guys is not very long. But we were very fortunate to work with a local Juarez journalist named Luis Chaparro, and he introduced us to that world and made it about as safe as it can be for us. And so I want to thank Luis. I want to thank Luis's wife for putting up with us coming into town and turning his life upside down. And I want to thank my wife, Emily, and Lucy, because I know it was hard sending us off to those places.
Hector, can you talk more about the work you're doing now?
Well, I'm still continuing to work with Deported Veterans. I actually spend most of my time in Tijuana still, and hopefully by 2020, I'm looking at starting school and getting back into, starting to work, get paid U.S. dollars. And but I'll still continue the work. It was a long part of my life, and I just can't give it up. It's just, I mean, I was day in, day out, just, living with these guys and just living that life. So, but it's very difficult, but thanks to like a lot of people, and one, Nathan Fletcher, who's here, who was very instrumental in the pardon process, and also his wife Lorena, we just got a guy home who was deported for 19 years, and that was through some legislation in California. So it's just it's been and odd enough, I just met a guy who I've been in contact with. He's not in the audience right now, but Lawrence Williams, he was deported, and he lives here in Toronto. And we've been in contact for years. So there's a lot of guys deported to over 50-something countries, Canadians as well, and we just want to get them home. So I'm just going to continue the fight.
And I just want to give real quick. So at the end of this movie, we obviously finished it. We finished it pretty close to the wire, but literally last week, Miguel Perez got a pardon from the governor of Illinois. So we've got like a lot of steam here with this thing, and Miguel, he couldn't come, he wouldn't be able to come here for this, but Miguel's, he's been here in spirit, and he's like, he's coming home soon, so this is, it's happening.
Yeah.
I want to take some questions from the audience. Stand, if you raise your hand, I'll call on you, and then just stand up, and yes, in the middle there, please, I'll repeat your question. So why don't immigrants, when they're recruited, apply for citizenship at that time?
And it's varied throughout the years as far as military service. There is a pathway towards citizenship. Unfortunately, there's no program to make sure that the veterans do the process. It is, I think, a personal responsibility, but I think also the military should make sure that these veterans are made aware that they're actually sat down and shown how to start the process. People say it's not, we shouldn't hold their hands, but we do hold their hands when they're in the military, to make sure you shine your boots, make sure your power of attorney is done, make sure you pass your APFT. So why not make sure that these guys are made aware of the citizenship process and make sure that they go through it. At different points, they do it through basic training. I think 2009, 2010, they were doing it through the U.S. Marine Corps, but it's just, there's no program still, so that's what we're advocating for, to make sure that happens.
Who's got a question? Yep, they're waving your hand. So for all the Democratic candidates who are running for president now, is this an issue on their radar, or can it be brought to their radar?
Well, I would say that's probably something to be brought to both the Democrats and Republicans, to be honest with you, because traditionally people on the right have always said that their most coveted possessions in their society are veterans, and people on the left are generally sympathetic to immigration, and so this really shouldn't be a party-specific situation that's happening, and I think that, obviously, yeah, we want people talking about it. We want people to be, lobbying for this kind of thing. Senator Duckworth is lobbying for this and doing an incredible job of it. And, the hope with a movie like this, because I'm just a filmmaker, but the hope is that it gets loud enough where people can actually start speaking about it, and that it does become a thing. And, these days, there's really nothing, I feel like, that kind of crosses that party line and people shake hands on, and just deporting a veteran that served honorably just feels like one of those obvious things.
Right here. How do we support your organization in Tijuana, Hector?
Sure. Unfortunately, my website's down, but we do need a lot of volunteers. We need people to help. There's you can donate. Actually, I have business cards, and if you guys are interested, I'll stick around and give them to you guys. But you can donate, you can volunteer, you can just, share our stories, and we just want the world to know about the situation, because it's not just specific to Mexican veterans. They're all over the world, and we need to bring them home. Thank you.
Okay, you can take a couple more questions right here in front.
For Hector, how is it, like, someone as high profile as you, for 14 years, you were never claimed by any of the cartels? Is that because you're in Tijuana
So the question is, for 14 years, you were a prominent figure. Why didn't the cartels come after you?
I mean, I've had guys that have been targeted that lived at the bunker. I'm very, believe me, I'm surrounded by everything, all that environment. But I just, I chose not to get involved in that. It's just, I have been homeless. I have been struggled with addiction in the streets in Tijuana. But, I wanted to get home, and I just wanted to do the right thing. I mean, it's if you're targeted, yeah, it's either you do it or not. And I just didn't. I chose not to get involved in that environment. Yeah.
Okay, one more question in the middle there. Check it. So the question is, isn't a veteran more prone to having PTSD and therefore more prone to getting into trouble?
Sure. Well, you already have all the PTSD issues. Most of my veterans, except for a small population, have been deported for not being in trouble at all, like they didn't have any crimes. But yeah, you have the PTSD issues, and then once you get deported, it just makes it worse. We've been able to get the guys their VA benefits, but they still don't have direct access to the VA where they can be treated by doctors or psychologists that are familiar with PTSD. So yeah, it just makes it enhances the deportation, just enhances the whole deal.
And also, in our experience, one thing that we found is that, whether you're an immigrant or not, returning home with PTSD often can lead to, self-medicating with drugs and alcohol. And, getting involved with drugs and alcohol often can get you into trouble. And when, as Nathan said very well in the film, when, regular citizen soldiers struggle when they come home, we have programs for them, but when immigrant soldiers come home and struggle, we punish them and then deport them. So it's very unfortunate.
We have to wrap this up. You're the first audience in the world to see Ready for War. I hope you carry the message outward. There will be other screenings at the festival. Hope you get to see more films and documentaries this week. I want to thank you very much for coming. Thanks especially to Nick, Andrew, and Hector.
Good hug.